Hi, I'm Karla. Thank you for coming. Today I'm going to be breaking down the first episode of my new show, The Chronicles of Peculiar Whimsy. And this first episode, that's about a thing Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein, did back in the day, which I thought it was very interesting. If you haven't seen the short, I'm going to link it in the description, or maybe somewhere around here, I don't know. And well, let's dive into it. This is not going to be a tutorial. I'm just going to go through, like, very quickly the beginning of the process to the shots to the editing, like, really quick. If anyone has, like, more specific questions, I would love to know. And then probably on next episodes, we can dive more deeply into it. This is the first time that I do this, so it's probably going to be a little clumsy, and I apologize in advance, but this is not my usual thing to do. Okay, so as you can see on our screen, I have the edit in Premiere, but it doesn't begin there. So let me show you. The first thing that I do, obviously, is I script the thing. Let me put myself little here. Let's see. So here we have the script, right? It says English because I do two versions of every episode. I do an English version and I do a Spanish version, which is my actual native tongue. Another reason why this is a bit uncomfortable. But so I first write it in English, and then we do it in Spanish. And that actually makes the Spanish version, like, funnier. I don't know why. Like, because I guess I don't think of those exact words if I was writing it in Spanish. Anyway, if you know how to speak Spanish and you want to check both versions, you'll see, in my opinion, the Spanish version, like, has a bit more, like, sass. Okay, so what I do is I script the thing. This is very short. I have to make this very short so it's sustainable and I can do it besides my full-time job. So this is a story about how Mary Shelley kept her husband's heart in a desk drawer until the day she died. And I don't know why, but I thought that story was very interesting, and I was like, who does that? Obviously Mary Shelley, you know, the woman that actually wrote Frankenstein, she had to do it. It's a tragedy story, but I like it. So I wrote it. I went through 3 of this. I never really like what I write, but I have to, like, let it go, otherwise I wouldn't make anything at all. And then once I'm sort of happy with it, I do a visual script, which is, you might know what this is, just, you know, I name the shots where I think a cut is going to be, and I put the direction of the animation on the right column and the VO script, what's going to be said, on the left column, and I separated this, like, in shots. I'm a very organized person, and if you're starting animating, or if you're starting, like, working in After Effects or anything related to editing or After Effects or animation, I highly recommend that you stay organized all the time. Otherwise, it's going to drive you crazy because it gets slammed and packed really fast. So I separate the shots. This is fairly simple, 6 little shots, like you can see here, and the animation direction, which sometimes I write in English, sometimes I write in Spanish. It depends on, I don't know what it depends on. And yeah. So then I go to Photoshop and I gather all of the assets that I need, depending on the direction that's in the right column. And I put everything together, and then I take everything to After Effects. And here in After Effects, you can see those operations. You have them here. I have several folders. And this is, the assets, audio, JPEGs, overlays, PNGs, proxies, PSD files, which is what I was telling you. Textures. I have a problem. I have an addiction to textures, and I use too many of them, but in my personal work, like, I really go overboard. But anyway, it's mine, so who cares? Let's see. And the separation that you see in the script is actually here. This is not supposed to be here. You have main comps, and then we have pre-compositions that I have here, and I have separate folder for characters, like Mary, different instances of Mary. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I maintain the same rig. It depends on what I'm doing. Percy Shelley, which is her husband. Let's see, you can see her here. Let's move back a little bit. Let me put down this. I made her probably like very, like, kind of tall. I like tall characters with small heads, small feet. You cannot see her feet here, but I like them. And I don't know why, but I like red noses. I don't do this very often. I'm gonna start doing it more, but I really like red noses for some reason. It's like in all honesty, I don't know why I like red noses. But this is the whole rig, and you have, the eyebrows and expressions here, and the mouth. I have like different shapes. It's very subtle, but I think you can sort of like see it, right? And controls for the hands so that she can move the hands. And this is a Duik. This is a plugin that I use all the time, and it's called Duik Angela. It's free. I'm gonna put a link in the description. They do have like this thing where you can like donate or buy a course or something. I strongly suggest that you do, because these guys, they give us gold for nothing, and I do all these rigs with this plugin called Duik Angela. And this is a hair bone, which has different controllers for me to have the dress. Okay, this is not the real where it is, but it has controllers for waving and overlapping. So in any case, there are two things that I really like about this short. I'm not gonna go through every shot because that would be really boring. But there are two things that I really like, and the first one, and people who have seen it have asked me how I did it, so I'm gonna do it for you. This shot right here.
In 1822, her dear husband, Percy, tragically drowned on
the ocean waves. Percy,
in 18
is that he died drowning in an accident, a boat accident. There was a storm and he drowned. So
in 1822, her dear husband, Percy, tragically drowned on a sailing trip. 10 days later, his body washed up so grotesquely decomposed that Italian quarantine law required it to be cremated. So, they built a fucking bonfire on the beach to do so, but Percy's heart refused to burn, quite literally. In 1822, her dear husband...
Sorry for the French. So let's go into it. Let's go inside here, and I have several shots here. This is another pre-composition called the ship part, which is the whole ship, and then the part of the beach, and when the body just makes it to the shore, and then the bonfire, and the close-up of the heart burning in the bonfire. And if you go inside here, there's even more precompositions because why not? Let's make this very complicated. And let's see what we have, the water waves. That's another precomposition that has another precomposition that is this shots of individual that I downloaded a vector image of a wave and I painted it in Photoshop with brushes so that I could have like this brushing texture, like pencil, paper type thing. So this is what I did. And I animated like the position, like a wavy position. You can see it here. It goes from here to there and it goes back, sort of like an oval. You have it here, yes. And then on the position I have an expression for a loop expression, so it repeats over and over and over again. So I did that and I put several of them, I duplicated them and I put several of them in line. And I separated them for like 2 frames, each one, let me see, one frame of separation for each one. So they have a little bit of an overlapping. And then that is a precomposition. And then I put several copies of that in another comp. And I also displace them in time so that they're not at the same time. And then for the sheep shot, I have a set of waves, another set of waves. In between those set of waves, we have, and I changed a little bit of about the color to have a little bit of variation, like the ones from behind. You can see are a little more contrasted. The ones on the top are the original color, and then in between, like on top of that, I have this sea monster that it just comes up for like a split second. Isn't this cool? Look at this fish. Look at the mouth. God. Okay, so this fishy comes in and goes to the ocean, to the bottom. And then I have another sea monster, which is kind of like a mermaid with claws. Seahorse? What is this? I don't know, I found them and I thought they were really cool. Even though you cannot see them for long. Okay, so this is on top, and then on top of that I have the boat, which is a PNG here. You know, the boat, it goes up and then it sinks, right? It starts here and it sinks and it goes, you know. I have a control for the wiggle. Then I have the wave. I have a single wave, which is on the same pack of vectors that I downloaded, but this is bigger, and this is the wave that, you know, takes the shape around just to sink it at this moment. And then I have another set of waves on top of it. Yay. So that we are underwater. Cool. And then we have our character of Percy drowning. I thought about putting like the waves on top of everything, including Percy, but you can see him like a lot, and I didn't want like I didn't want to see like these monsters all the way through, and it made more sense to just put Percy on top, but it's in multiply mode, and it has a tint, so it looks like a silhouette, like a shadow, and you can see him here drowning. Oh no! It's just very And if you go inside, he's actually, this is what you see. Ooh. Oh no. And I added another boat that is linked to the boat that I mentioned before, in linear burn, so that you can see a difference between the boat outside the water and the boat inside the water. And so this one also has the water layer as matte, so it only appears in the water. And then we have like the usual rain. The rain is it's particles, it's a particle system from Trapcode particular, and I had it like coming like really hard from the side. And I wanted a lightning. So here it is. This is the normal lighting effect in After Effects. But if I solo this, you'll see that it was like this, right? I just animated the lightning. And then what I did is I took a picture of the frame and then I brought it back. Here it is. And let's see what we did to the picture. I added a tint to make it black and white. Then I inverted it and then I cranked the curves. And so I really like the lighting. Now it's black and everything is like very like in your face glow, and it's just for a couple of frames. So it appears 2 frames and it disappears. The reason that it looks so different is because I had a different setup of this scene when I took the screenshot, and then I didn't change it. And I'm very lazy, and I was like, this is fine. This is just 2 frames. And I actually kind of like it, because if you blink, you almost don't see it. It's just a little detail, right? And so this is how I made the waves. Let's see. This is shot 3. And if you're wondering what else I have in here, I have a bunch of stuff. I usually get a clean shot, which I call, it's a proxy. So it's clean, otherwise my computer would explode. So it's like all the animation without the final effects. And then I bring it back and I put it into the shot. And let's see what I have. For this one, I have a film frame from TextureLabs. Then time, these are all adjustment layers. I added a posterized time in 10. I kind of always do this. I like 10, not 12. Then I added this film lens. Isn't this beautiful? It's just an image and I'm in screen mode. Then optic compensation to give me this kind of like lensy look. You can see the difference off on. Then I blur the edges. This is just a camera lens blur with a mask. I think, yes, a mask. You can see the mask. So the blur is only for the corners to give it a little bit of depth. And then we have the color correction layer, which is this one, which I always use this plugin, almost always use this plugin that's called the Enhancer. And it's so cool. Like it has like, look at this. It's very subtle, but yeah. And then I have this layer, which is just...
In 1822, her dear husband, Percy, tragically...
To get, the vintage look for this one, because we are in the 19th century. And the whole compositions is in 4:3 aspect ratio, which is 2000 by 1500. 4:3 set. Cool. And this is a shot. And then I just have another shot that I really want to show you, because the final shot has this...
And that is what makes Mary Shelley the
conclusion
guthiest bitch
of
to
why
ever
Mary Shelley
lived.
is amazing.
She makes this guy look like a cute glittery muffin.
And I had this idea that, like, usually when you think about the goddess person on earth, people would probably say Edgar Allan Poe. And I thought that I could make the comparison and say that Mary Shelley was better than Edgar Allan Poe, just because I like her better. And so, in addition to making him look like a muffin, I thought that the Raven, the Edgar Allan Poe's Raven, could just like decide to go with Mary Shelley instead, because she's cooler. So that's what I did. And I was very happy with the Raven. I didn't expect to look so good. Look at it. And then he flies on the fly. It just turned out so cool. But it's all trickery. Like, it has nothing special. And let me show you, because this is really cool. Okay, I have the PS folder for the assets of the Raven. And let me show you, okay? So we have the right... Foot is not the right word, but I don't know the right word in English. So I just put foot. And then the body, everything in pieces. The left foot, again, is just a copy of the right foot. Again, not foot. The mid-flight foot. So obviously, when they get up and fly, like the little foot just goes like this, and it hangs, and you can see it because gravity. So I had to have one of those. For this, I had like a bunch of Raven pictures that I downloaded. I have a head that's looking ahead, a head that's looking to its left. Then I have a closed wing, down wing, and open wing. Okay, so everything in pieces. And then we go back to the After Effects, and we go back inside the Raven. The only thing that I didn't animate, like in 3D and rotation of the wings or puppet, like really hard, is just switching with opacity. Like, let me show you. So this is closed wing, down wing, and open wing. So we start here, right? And I mean, I really like this guy. He just like moves its feathers a little bit, okay? So it just changes in opacity with toggle hold keyframes, so that it doesn't interpolate the time between one and another. They just appear and disappear. So it's just opacity from 0 to 100 in an instant, right? So from middle to down to up to middle again. And then I repeat the keyframes just to have that flapping again. And then I do this overshoot. He's getting ready to depart, so he goes a little bit down with this general control that I have everything parented to. And then he flies. And the same with a foot. It's just the other one appearing. You can see mid-flight, opacity, 100%, and the other one, 0%. And I just changed the opacities between the wings. And if you do this fast enough, and this is a couple of frames for each wing, and then I animated the position in the actual shot. So you can see here, it goes from Edgar Allan Poe's shoulder to Mary Shelley. And then another whole keyframe, which is the scale just for him to turn around. So, sorry about the lag. So when he lands, it takes a moment to get down, and then boop, he turns around. And now he's looking at Edgar Allan Poe, which is, you know, disappointed to not be the goddess, the gothest guy to have ever lived. I really like this scene. And I think I'm gonna leave it here. So then what I do is, you know, I take all the shots, and then we can go back to our premiere, where I have the edit that I did before for the voiceover, which is done by my amazing wife called Becky, and I think it's amazing because she's way better. I thought about doing it myself, but she's way better at it than me, to be honest. So yeah, so she did it, and she also did like the sound effects and the sound mixing, and it's really cool. So she just gives me here you can see it at the end. She just gives me a track, which is this one, which has the sound effects. Because I have
bit to have ever lived.
her voice,
But no, that's not it.
the sound effects. A disclaimer, it's very important.
She was married to Percy Shelley, a dramatic poetry bleeding of the Romantic era.
Here, this is a sound effect for when we say the F word.
Fuck bonfire and fuck
Here,
bonfire.
which is kind of
Fuck bonfire on the beach. Fuck bon.
type thing. And then we render the whole thing. And we add my horrible call to action video about me making this video. So now it's kind of like weird, but let's see it. A short stories show on YouTube about real stories, dark stories, fun stories, or just stories that I find interesting. I don't really have a big team or a big budget, so if you liked it, I would seriously appreciate it if you leave a comment, subscribe, share, like. And this is very meta, but I'm gonna ask you the same thing. I'm gonna leave it here. And I already uploaded another short about whales, and that one has a really very PG-13 story about them. And yeah, so if you like this, if you like me to like go deeper into any of these things, let me know. I really don't know what I'm doing. I've done this for people before, like private calls, when they ask me how I do what I do, but I actually like going through the thing and show people how it's made, sort of, because if I show you the whole thing, we would be here forever. But well, anyway, if you're all the way up to here, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you in the next one. Please, if you like it, you know, just give me like a like and a comment. Like, this is cool. If you like me to do something else, if you have short stories that you would want me to animate, or anything like that. Cool. See you in the next one.